The Hidden Leaf village basked in the golden glow of a setting sun, its streets bustling with villagers finishing their daily routines. Yet beneath the peaceful facade, an uneasy tension hummed in the air. Reports had been flooding in from across the Shinobi world, entire villages were being overrun by an inexplicable force. Crops withered, rivers ran dry, and worst of all, people were disappearing without a trace. The only clue left behind was a strange, sticky residue that smelled sickly sweet. The five cage had convened in secret, their faces grim as they pieced together the horrifying truth. The world was under attack by sentient Dango, rogue dumplings with an insatiable hunger for chakra. Naruto Uzumaki, the seventh Hokage, stood atop the Hokage monument, his cerulean eyes scanning the horizon. His orange jacket fluttered in the wind as he clenched his fists. "This isn't just some random attack," he muttered. "Someone's controlling them, and we need to find out who before it's too late." Behind him, Shikamaru Nara sighed, rubbing his temples. "The reports say these Dango absorb chakra on contact. One touch, and even a jonin could be drained dry. We can't afford to underestimate them." Naruto smirked. "Then we hit 'em hard and fast, no holding back." Meanwhile, deep within the ruins of the Hidden Sound village, a shadowy figure cackled as they stirred a bubbling cauldron of molten sugar. "Yes. Yes. The world will finally understand the power of the Sweet Liberation Army." The figure, revealed to be a rogue pastry chef turned mad scientist, raised a dripping ladle, letting the syrup cascade into molds shaped like tiny dumplings. With a flash of sinister green chakra, the Dango twitched to life, their beady eyes glowing with malice. "Go forth, my delicious warriors. Devour all chakra and bring me the 9 tails." Back in Konoha, the first wave struck. The village alarms blared as gelatinous spheres rolled through the gates, their sticky bodies leaving trails of sugary slime. Naruto wasted no time. "Shadow clone Juju," he roared, summoning a dozen clones that charged forward, kunai flashing. But the moment a clone struck, its blade sank uselessly into the Dango's spongy flesh before the creature latched on, draining the clone in an instant with a sickening slurp. "TCH, they really do eat chakra." Naruto growled, leaping back as another Dango launched itself at him like a rubbery cannonball. Sasuke Uchiha materialized beside him, his Sharingan spinning. "They're weak to fire," he observed coolly before forming hand signs. "Fire style, great fireball jutsu." A searing inferno engulfed the advancing Dango, their sugary bodies caramelizing before exploding into syrupy shrapnel. But for every one destroyed, 3 more surged forward, their numbers overwhelming. Sakura Haruno landed with a crater-inducing punch, crushing a cluster beneath her fist. "They're multiplying," she shouted, wiping sticky residue from her gloves. Naruto gritted his teeth. "If fire works, then let's crank it up." He slammed his palms together, his whisker marks darkening as golden chakra erupted around him. 9 tails chakra mode. His aura blazed like a miniature sun, the heat alone causing nearby Dango to sizzle. With a burst of speed, he zigzagged through the horde, each strike leaving a smoldering crater where a dumpling once stood. But the rogue Dango weren't done, their bodies quivered before merging into a colossal, wobbling monstrosity, its maw gaping wide enough to swallow a building. "Okay, that's just nasty," Naruto deadpanned before charging headfirst into battle. The fight had only just begun, and the fate of the Shinobi world hung in the balance, one delicious, deadly bite at a time. The battlefield was a swirling storm of dust and debris as Naruto Uzumaki squared off against the monstrous rogue Dango, its gelatinous form pulsing with sinister energy. The once peaceful village lay in ruins, its streets cracked and buildings reduced to rubble. Around them, the Shinobi alliance fought desperately against the Dango's minions, twisted clones of fallen warriors, their eyes hollow and movements erratic. Naruto gritted his teeth, his orange jacket tattered from the relentless assault, but his blue eyes burned with determination. "This ends now," he roared, forming a Rasengan in his palm, the spiraling chakra crackling with raw power. Rogue Dango merely laughed, its voice a gurgling mockery of human speech. "Foolish child. Your strength is nothing against the chaos I bring." It lunged, its amorphous body stretching like liquid, tendrils whipping toward Naruto with terrifying speed. Naruto barely dodged, flipping backward as the ground where he stood exploded. His mind raced, direct attacks weren't working. The creature absorbed physical blows like water, reforming instantly. He needed a new strategy. Nearby, Sasuke Uchiha clashed with a corrupted version of Itachi, his Sharingan spinning furiously. Pathetic imitation, Sasuke spat, weaving hand signs. "Amaterasu." Black flames erupted, engulfing the clone, but it merely laughed as the fire dissipated into its body. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. It's adapting. He glanced at Naruto, their years of battle synergy kicking in. A silent understanding passed between them, they had to combine their strengths. Naruto grinned, channeling Kurama's chakra. His body flared with golden energy as he entered Six Paths Sage mode, the power surging through him like a storm. Sasuke, now, he shouted. Sasuke's Rinnegan flashed as he teleported beside Naruto, their hands clasping together. The air trembled as their combined chakra erupted into a devastating shockwave. Planetary devastation. A massive orb of gravitational force formed above Rogue Dango, pulling it inward with crushing pressure. The creature shrieked, its form distorting as it fought against the pull. But Rogue Dango wasn't done. With a grotesque ripple, it split into thousands of smaller clones, each one darting toward the surrounding shinobi. Sakura Haruno, standing guard over the wounded, clenched her fists. I won't let you touch them. She slammed her fist into the earth, the ground shattering as shockwaves obliterated the approaching clones. Yet more kept coming, their numbers overwhelming. Kakashi Hatake and Might Guy fought back to back, their movements a blur. This reminds me of our younger days, Guy chuckled, despite the sweat pouring down his face. Only this time, we're the old men saving the world. Kakashi smirked beneath his mask, his Sharingan tracking every enemy. Then let's make it count. With a burst of speed, Guy unleashed the 8 inner gates, his body glowing crimson. Hirudora. The air itself exploded as his punch created a massive tiger-shaped shockwave, annihilating dozens of clones in an instant. Meanwhile, Naruto and Sasuke pressed their assault, pushing Rogue Dango to its limits. The creature's form flickered, its regeneration slowing. It's working, Naruto yelled, forming a massive Rasen Shuriken. He hurled it with all his might, the spinning vortex of wind chakra slicing through the beast's core. Rogue Dango howled, its body destabilizing. But then, with a final, desperate surge, it gathered the remaining energy of its fallen clones, swelling into a colossal, writhing mass. You cannot destroy me. I am chaos itself. The ground quaked as Rogue Dango unleashed a tidal wave of dark chakra, the sheer force sending shinobi flying. Naruto skidded back, his arms shaking from the impact. He glanced at Sasuke, who nodded grimly. One last shot, Sasuke said, his Rinnegan flaring. Naruto grinned. Yeah. Let's finish this. With a roar, Naruto summoned every ounce of Kurama's power, his body radiating blinding light. Sasuke's Susanoo wrapped around him, its skeletal form solidifying into a towering armored warrior. Together, they charged, their combined attack, a Rasengan infused with Amaterasu, plunging straight into Rogue Dango's core. The explosion that followed lit up the sky, a deafening roar echoing across the battlefield. When the dust cleared, Rogue Dango was gone. The remaining clones dissolved into nothingness, leaving only silence. Exhausted but victorious, Naruto collapsed to his knees, his breath ragged. Sasuke stood beside him, his Sharingan deactivating. We did it, Naruto gasped, grinning despite the pain. But as the sun broke through the clouds, a faint whisper lingered in the wind, a reminder that chaos, though defeated, was never truly gone. The shinobi world had survived, but the battle had pushed them to their absolute limits. And somewhere, deep in the shadows, something stirred. The fight was over, for now. The battlefield was a storm of dust and shattered earth, the air thick with the scent of burnt chakra and desperation. Naruto's breaths came in ragged gasps as he wiped blood from his lip, his orange jacket torn and singed from the relentless onslaught. Across the crater-strewn field, Rogue Dango loomed, his monstrous form pulsing with stolen energy, his laughter a guttural roar that shook the very ground. You can't win, Uzumaki, he sneered, flexing clawed fingers. The shinobi world bows to me now. Naruto's fists clenched, his knuckles white. Behind him, his allies lay battered, Sasuke's Sharingan flickered weakly, Sakura's healing chakra sputtered, and even Kurama's voice in his mind was strained. But Naruto's resolve burned brighter than ever. Like hell I'll let that happen, he growled, slamming his palms together. Kurama, one last push. The Nine Tails chakra erupted around him in a blazing inferno, his form shifting into the ultimate cloak of golden energy. Rogue Dango lunged, his massive fist crashing down like a meteor. Naruto met it head-on, their collision sending shockwaves that split the earth. The impact hurled them apart, but Naruto twisted mid-air, hurling a barrage of Rasen Shuriken. The spiraling discs carved through Dango's defenses, slicing into his flesh, but the rogue ninja only laughed, his wounds stitching back together with grotesque speed. You're wasting your time. He taunted, his body swelling with dark energy. Sasuke's voice cut through the chaos. Naruto, now. His Rinnegan flared as he teleported beside Dango, Amaterasu's black flames engulfing the villain's legs. Dango roared, but before he could retaliate, Sakura's fist smashed into his spine with earth-shattering force, cracking his armored shell. Naruto didn't hesitate, he lunged, his Rasengan spinning violently in his palm, infused with every ounce of his will. This ends here. The blow connected, drilling into Dango's chest. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to freeze. Then, light erupted, a blinding, searing explosion of energy that consumed them both. Naruto felt his muscles scream, his bones threatening to shatter, but he pushed harder, pouring every memory, every bond, every hope into that single moment. Dango's eyes widened in disbelief as cracks spider-webbed across his body, his stolen power unraveling. Impossible. He choked out before the energy consumed him, his form dissolving into motes of fading chakra. Silence. Naruto collapsed to his knees, his golden cloak flickering out. The battlefield was a wasteland, but the sky above was clear for the first time in days. Sasuke staggered to his side, offering a rare smirk. You never know when to quit, do you? Naruto grinned weakly. Takes one to know one. Sakura joined them, her hands already glowing green as she tended to their wounds. Idiots, she muttered, but her voice was thick with relief. In the aftermath, the Shinobi world began to heal. Villages once fractured by Dango's influence reunited, their alliances strengthened by the shared ordeal. Naruto's actions became legend, not just for his power, but for the unbreakable bonds that had carried them through the darkness. The Cage Summit declared a new era of cooperation, and even the most hardened skeptics acknowledged that the future was brighter because of Team 7's sacrifice. But as Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument, gazing at the sunset over Konoha, he knew the real victory wasn't in the battle itself, it was in the people who fought beside him. The world had changed, but so had they. And that, more than any explosion or Rasengan, was what truly mattered.